photographer. And I genuinely, like, if I'm traveling, I'll listen to a satellite radio show. He was brilliant on Wayne's World. And but him right after he got clean on the Muppet Show doing Welcome to My Nightmare. Yeah.
What was the name of the van in movie, by the way? Did you say it was Super Van?
Super Van. Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, it's like the
I wish I had that kind of time.
The opening credits are a CB conversation. Breaker 19, good buddy.
Excellent.
Anybody ready to start the show?
Oh my gosh!
Whoa! There's a show. No one told me there was a show.
Do not
I'm
do
not
that.
prepared. I'm not prepared.
I'm going to give you a Z formation here. What?
Oh,
Thanks for showing up.
I wanted to hear more about vanning.
Yeah,
whatever
you
it was called.
Yeah, you do.
Or Alice Cooper. Welcome to Everyone Racers, the show designed for the world of Alice Cooper and the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemma Champ or Lucky Track Dog league you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just a tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone, report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental, and we are
145 times. 145 times.
We are still Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to another Volvo Wagon, episode of our podcast. It's episode 145. If you're not driving a car, don't forget that E1R bingo card. We haven't updated it in a while because it still works, and if we put murder hornets and sodomy geese on there, we're afraid they might show up. So we're just going to leave it as it is. 145, of course, the body code for the Volvo Wagon. But before we fall down that rabbit hole, because there isn't a movie called Super Volvo Wagon as opposed to Super Van, let's kick it off with what you're working on. What you working on, Chris?
The boat. No one is surprised. The restoration of the 1982. Surprised? No.
Are you working on
the
the boat?
restoration of the 1982 Boston Whaler continues. We've been working on boat kind of stuff. I'm still waiting for effing paint. Place I ordered it from in Maine on June.
So guess who's not bringing the boat to the Cape this weekend?
Yeah,
that's
great.
us.
Well, when there's no primer, I can't paint it. And if I can't paint it, I can't put the motor on, or the console, or the flooring, or the siege, or the fuel system, or the rub rail, or the lights, or anyway. So. But I did make and install the console floor. I did make a template for the teak flooring, and also assembled and cut out and sanded quite a lot of teak flooring. Just need to do a little trimming on the main piece for the bottom of the floor. And then we need some paint. Also managed to install the last couple pieces of E-Track in the trailer. So the trailer is done except for the hole for the air conditioning. Everything else, it is done. It looks great. I'm super thrilled to use it. And this evening, I bought $1,000 in brake pads from Porterfield because it's about that time.
They love our money.
Yep.
Don't you want to know what they're for?
What? Yeah,
Does
what
anybody
is this
ask
1,000?
here?
I'm waiting for him to stop breathing. What were this $1,000 of brake pads for? Because that's like 2 sets of Lemons pads, right?
Well, it's a complete set of street pads for the NSX, because my last inspection they said, well, these are technically just below where we're supposed to let you go, but we know you don't drive the car that much, so you're fine. So I got some Porterfield R4S's for that. Got a new set of rear pads for the Civic because those are like half worn. I want to make sure we have a spare. And got an entire set of race brake pads for the Mazda. ST43s up front.
Because gets going on track in July.
They're saying like, oh, I guess, yeah, some of these are going to be custom. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think you made endurance racing pads for a Mazda 5 minivan, so that's why that makes sense for the rear brakes. So. Totally fine.
Yep.
Like when we used to order Oldsmobile Bravada brakes.
They're like,
yeah, we're going to make that.
Sure?
Yeah, you are.
We are sure. Oldsmobile
Yes.
Bravada, please.
We need the Oldsmobile Bravada brakes. Oh, hey, Chris, how's it going? Didn't know.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's happened that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeff, what are you working on?
So it was my boy's birthday. I think I mentioned that last week that I was shopping for it, and very excited because we got VR, baby. Very excited. I don't yet have the cord to connect it to my computer.
Oh, we understand.
To do
Been there, done that.
iRacing yet.
No. Hang on.
USB.
I want us all to acknowledge that Jeff doesn't have the wires.
That's right.
That's good. Thank you. USB 3.0. With an A end on one end and a C end on the other, and you need at least 6 feet long.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where my
finding
laptop is going to live versus where the steering wheel is going to live. So we'll figure it out. But anyway, that's very exciting. So we had a lot of birthday stuff. We had friends over. We had my parents over. It was a grand old time at the old house this weekend. And as soon as they left, because this is what you do when you have an event, you start ripping the house apart the second the guests leave. So I ripped up a whole bunch of carpet in my upstairs, like I guess it's like the tiny hallway. And it is the most.
You might be taking this disinfecting thing a little too far.
It is the most cat pee smelling stuff I've ever smelled in my smelly smell.
Never mind, you taking it
for someone who doesn't have a cat.
Yeah, it was previous owner. When we moved in this place 5 years ago, we were like, well, let's just replace the worst carpet now, and we'll get to the rest later. 5 years later, and it's like, that stuff is so disgusting, I don't want to touch it. But the flooring must continue. Let's see here. I also did a quick trip to Newark, not Newark, Delaware. I don't know where. What's the town?
Newcastle.
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 Thank you. Newcastle, Delaware.
I recognize that I was there.
To pick up a set of 4 tires from Tire Rack. The Contis that I've been waiting to go on sale for like 6 months were on sale. I only noticed the day before they were done. So I had to go like, order now. I'm going now. And getting them all picked up on the very last day of the Conti sale. So, Mental, thank you. Kid waves in a Zoom meeting and Mental's ignoring her.
I'm not a Zoom pro. Sorry, guys.
So I got the new tires for the Corvette Corvette magazine. Corvette. That was it.
Did you properly remove the rear tires that are on it?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I've been working on that for months now, and I just realized I'm still wearing my COVID mask from picking up dinner tonight.
You're very fashionable.
I know. I didn't think anybody would comment on my fashionable ascot.
I just thought I didn't know what it was.
You're wearing an ascot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my headphones off.
It's a neck warmer.
Mental, why don't you tell me what you're
Or should we go Chrissy next?
Fine.
Sure.
I don't care who goes.
Okay, yeah, do Chrissy.
Even though she was next in line.
It's fine. It's weird when Chris asks me what I'm doing.
Exactly. That's why I skip her.
I'm also
working on the boat a lot. Whenever Chris is out there, I'm out there. I am, and then we had a day at the beach. We were negotiating because we still didn't have the paint. We could take a day at the beach, which was great, and then we got back to it. I'm working a ton. Like you click the button where Jeff says he complains about how much work he's doing, and that's what I'm doing. I work, my coworker, my employee is off on maternity leave. She just had her baby, which means, and there's no replacement for her. So I'm doing all of her work. So that's really sucks. And tomorrow I'm going to pack the last of masks and thermometers to send out to our field because we just bought too many. And when you just click buy all, when in March, when there's nothing, you get everything and then you have to ship them all out. And the team that is supposed to be helping me is bailing. So I'm going to work for a while and then we'll see how it goes.
Then we go to the Cape.
And we're going to the Cape and that's great. And I can't wait. So that's what I'm doing. Nothing but complaints here. Mental,
first world problems. We can't bring our boat to our waterfront house. We have to sit on the porch instead.
Yeah, I'd be stunned if you couldn't rent one.
You can, but
you could go to the house and relax and just.
That's what we're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, okay.
That's what we're gonna do. I did look up trying to buy a 2-man inflatable raft on Amazon, figuring that would be fun just to row across the pond to the beach. But they won't get there till Sunday. even prime.
Air mattress. Just swing by Walmart and grab an air mattress.
Well,
That's a two-person raft.
Totally. Well, we have 2 big floaty chairs and a stand-up paddleboard. And
I was
there's
gonna
got to
say
be
the
some way we
paddleboard.
can make that work. Yeah. So, anyway.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
All right.
So
Pencil?
I am having a minor surgery tomorrow. So tomorrow I have to stop eating at midnight and take my last shower and then get up in the morning and go get sliced open. I'm having a deposit that is on my right side removed, timed perfectly so that I will be healed for Thompson. So let's hope Thompson goes off. I missed this when I missed the intro at last week's show, but 2 weeks ago I had the distinct honor of pinning captain on my friend and teammate Dustin Belch. I met him 13 years ago on the Grassroots Motorsports Forum. He was a young high school student about to join the Air Force and wanted to ask questions about the Air Force, and our careers have paralleled, and he's always worked someplace where I knew somebody. And he has done exceptional things in the Air Force Reserve. And he got to pin on captain. He drove out here, did a one-day all the way out to Las Vegas, pinned on captain, had a couple beers, turned around, stopped by the Hoover Dam on his way home, and went back to Los Angeles.
Damn.
But we've been co-conspirators for a number of years. And speaking of co-conspirators, he's been very quiet, but it is always a pleasure to welcome our 5th host, as well as our YouTube broadcast co-host and the everything bagel of 24 Hours of Lemons, Eric Rood. Eric, welcome to the show. What you working on?
Hey, glad to be here. I think, it's always a little dicey.
You knew what you were getting into.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a known quantity at this point.
I say let him crash.
That's right. That's right.
And even if he's not actually shaking his head, he's saying, gosh, these people are ridiculous.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, but I know what I signed up for a couple of years ago. So, what am I working on? Well, I'm just back from Gingerman, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Very exhausting weekend, probably the most tiring, the one that I've been a part of, but good, very good. And also lately, the last 24 hours or so, I've been buttoning up the last things on the Rocky Mountain Breakdown Rally in Colorado, which is a week from Friday. Getting the last few pieces of that put together. I think it's about ready to go. So as long as state and federal authorities don't shut down Colorado or the rest of the country, we're pretty sure that one's going to go off. There's always that possibility that things can change in a week because there's no such thing as certainty anymir.
Yeah, totally.
So, July hasn't unleashed its catastrophe yet.
That's right. That's right. We had the Saharan dust storms in the south, which didn't quite make it all the way north to Colorado and Gingerman, but it was close. So God knows what July's bringing us.
Well, the problem is you've got Las Vegas is on fire right now, so
Right.
all that's going towards Colorado. Sorry.
Excellent. Well, just fingers crossed that we can get this event to happen because I think a lot of people out in Colorado, missed the race that we had to postpone there. So we want to give them something. And it's going to be a pretty good route. Pikes Peak's going to be on it, which is going to be awesome. I put maybe the most far-flung checkpoint off of a route we've ever had in an amazing place.
In Colorado, you can get pretty darn far from.
It's not in Colorado.
Everything.
That's the best
Even
part
be-
of the
oh,
Colorado
why-
route.
Oh.
Neighboring state you can see from Colorado?
It is one of those, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
You know what? They're all square states. Once you get out there, it really doesn't matter. It's like square state next to a square state next to a square state.
But
They
then
all
they're
have,
really,
like-
really far.
Is
Yeah.
this podcast brought to you by Square State?
Oh,
There you go.
they should totally sponsor us.
There's my zinger for the night. But the rest of
Thank
the info for the rally should be coming out tomorrow. I had one last piece I was waiting on, and that should be an email to anybody who's signed up tomorrow, and then more information on the website about it. So
if you haven't done a Lemons rally and you're on the fence about it, for God's sakes, go do one. They are, it's a whole new facet of people. They're great. I love them.
Yeah, this one's going to be really good. I mean, it's all the mountain ranges in Colorado. I mean, in crappy cars. What more could you want other than brake failure at 11,000 feet? I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's actually going to be interesting if you go up Pikes Peak. They were doing pyrometer brake checks on our way down when we were there. So I'm curious to see how some of the Lemons rally cars hold up to the brake pyrometer check.
I wasn't even doing much.
For whoever gets the highest brake temperature reading.
Yeah.
needs to.
That's actually really good. I just sent the route books to print, so it's too late to put that in there, but we might be able to work it in there. Unfortunately,
some kind of special challenge.
Like 1 point for every degree over 500 or something.
Yeah, basically.
Oh gosh.
The summit is closed right now. They're building something on top of it, so you can't go all the way to the top, except for in a like a shuttle service that they're providing. So you can only go, I think, 13 miles up the road or 16. I don't remember what.
Probably the Devil's Playground has a parking area because
it's that one, a lower one, and a higher one. I don't remember which is which.
There's one that's solidly above tree line, like way up there. That they were having the shuttle van go when we went that time. This is back in October we went, I think. So not long ago, but they had the road, half of the visitor center torn up top. So I'm sure they're finishing it up now.
Yeah.
As
I understand it,
2009, I went to the hill climb, and I had an old Ford van, but it was great because we drove it up there. Then we got there at 3 a.m, went to sleep, and woke up and watched the hill climb. But the shifter bushing was worn out on the van, and it wouldn't go into low. And by the time I got to that pyrometer station, my brakes were well and truly on fire, like flames. And I didn't even go to the pyrometer station. I just pulled over to a parking spot, put it in park, got out, blew on my rotors until the flames went out. And then we went inside and had a couple of sodas till they cooled off and we could finish the descent.
As we said, what could go wrong? So,
Nothing.
Totally.
Excellent.
So,
we're ready for... Not else. Are we ready for the next segment?
I was going to talk about upcoming races, but we're just gabbing away.
How about news?
Why
and
were you
notes
going to go to upcoming? Do you have the notes open, Jeff?
No, I was down further. Sorry. News and notes time.
Wow.
Mall security personnel and lazy tourists take note. Reuters reported last week that Segway is stopping production of their iconic two-wheel personal vehicles. No worries, because the same vehicle manufacturer that helped topple both Usain Bolt during one of his victory laps with a cameraman and former President George W. Bush is still finding a way to build annoying creations. They were acquired by Chinese transportation robotics firm Ninebot after they sued Ninebot for stealing some of their technology. And the combined company has since branched into electric scooters, and they are the largest supplier for scooter sharing companies like Bird and Lime. Link is in our notes.
Yep.
You are absolutely correct. They're finding new and exciting ways to annoy the hell out of the public.
Yep.
Like tripping over a bird scooter at a busy intersection.
Yeah, that's something. Under the heading of no, the U.S. Commerce Department said on Tuesday it opened investigations into vehicle tire imports from South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam to determine whether tires are being sold at less than fair value. Here's the bad part. Hankook Tires urged the Commerce Department not to investigate, saying the U.S.
Don't look over there.
Domestic tire industry is in robust health and growing. And we add, you can have our Hankooks when you pry their hard heat cycle corpses from our cold race-winning rims. And we love us some RS4s.
I just like when you
bummer.
just don't tell anybody like
no, you don't need to look at that.
Just don't go over there. Don't look in that closet. It's fine. We're good.
So the problem isn't that the tires are bad or that they're like robbing us by jacking up the prices.
They're too cheap.
They're too cheap.
They're too affordable.
They're too awesome.
Yeah.
There's too much awesomeness in those tires. I'm sorry, you're going to have to charge more for them.
No, you know what? You don't need to. They're like trying to use a Jedi mind trick. You don't need to look at that.
Hey, you know what? Volkswagen said the same thing, and they were right?
These are not the tires you're looking
nothing to
for.
Find.
Nothing.
Oh,
all right,
boy.
super excited about this. If you haven't heard this, you're living under a rock. But Jessie Combs is officially the world's fastest woman. Guinness World Records has posthumously awarded Combs the title that she was clocked for at an average of 522.783 miles per hour and completed two-way runs before a crash that took her life in August. Jeremy Korzinski, thank you for this, broke the news on Autoblog where Jesse worked for since 2011 to 17. Jeremy writes that Jesse's dream was to become the fastest woman on earth, adding mission accomplished, Jesse. Awesome sauce.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone read deep into the article, but did you see the two speeds that averaged? One of them was like 540 something, and one of them was like in the low teens.
513.
513, yeah. And they didn't really meet at 520. I don't know how the whole
the land
salt
speed
flat
records,
things works.
Land speed records, regardless of salt flats or anything, it has to be an out and back. You have to be able to turn it and run it the same way back. That was the big problem when Craig Breedlove was going against the Thrust SST from Britain.
Right.
The British
went
couldn't
faster.
turn it.
Yep. Yeah, but the number didn't make sense to me.
It didn't add up.
It's
didn't add
something
up.
over. It's like an average of certain times. Whatever.
Whatever. I don't know.
Math.
She
Math
won.
is
It's
hard.
cool.
Math is
is
hard.
hard.
That's
Don't
true
care.
because it is the average over the mile, and then the average. It's not like the
Yeah, so usually they'll give you the average over the mile and an exit speed. So whatever the speed is at the end of the mile. So if it's 540 at the end of the mile and 510 at the beginning, then they do the average. But it's not always crystal clear. It's like anything in timing and scoring. It should really be simple, but there's a little bit of nuance to all of it.
You've been to the Salt, right?
I've not, and it
You're
is
not.
She was
very
didn't do that
high on
the-
my list.
Yeah,
of
she didn't do
things.
that on the Salt though. She was in Oregon at a.
She was in
dry
Oregon, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Ooh.
Well, this is exciting news. Maybe not, Eric. You're probably be prepared to be jealous that you are no longer an automotive journalist. And you get to work for Lemons.
Yes, jealous.
The people that you see in front of you, everyone racers, we were invited to Ford's digital reveal of the new F-150. Now you jealous?
I am extremely jealous, and I know that was a really labor-intensive invitation from Ford's PR people.
Yes,
so
they had to drop a link into an email
Yeah,
and say,
yeah.
please click on this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dear person, didn't even bother to change.
It actually,
The comma has a couple spaces after it because
Yeah.
it's just yes.
yes.
We had no shrimp.
No shrimp. There was zero shrimp at this press launch. Anyway, some of the new design details you may have heard about, such as the sleep flat rear seat and 12-inch display screen. Beautiful. I don't know.
I like the generator.
Yeah,
the
there's
generator
also
sounds actually valuable.
See, no, but I like the center console thing. If you haven't seen it, there's a new center console table, which is designed to be like a desk in case you need to like write things. So like the shifter, the Prindle shifter, like unlocks and like lowers into the console, and then you can flap a thing over.
You'd have a
Definitely.
really hard time, Jeff, with that
Yeah,
because
I know.
it would be covered in crap
Exactly.
8.2 seconds after you got in it,
That's
and
what
you'd
I
never be able
said.
to get the shifter back up.
Never do that because you're gonna have to like move all the like McDonald's like crap off the set.
Every time I
No.
see your desk, it gives me twitch. Like I get the shakes. I can't handle it. No, because someone's gonna fall. Someone's gonna fall. Like how do you do it? Like there's like a milk bottle and a teddy bear. What the hell?
See that?
That's multivitamins.
That's multiple hours of Zoom yesterday right there.
Ibuprofen.
I don't get headaches often, but yesterday I
Generate-
had one.
Yeah.
Can I go back to the tires thing, by the way, real
Yeah.
quick?
Sure.
So,
about
Reverse
tires?
the whole damn
What?
show. Why not?
so God, this is last November. I came across Cosmo tires. Are you familiar with Cosmo tires?
no.
We went to SEMA. We saw all those tire
Cosmo
manufacturers.
tires. Cosmo tires are from unidentified Southeast Asian country.
Yes.
And the marketing
so
on
many.
it is phenomenal. But the tires that they supply, the models include, and I spent like the last 5 minutes looking this up after you include the Cosmo Mucho Macho,
Nice.
the El Jefe,
Nice.
Oh,
I love
the,
that.
the sexy beast and the chubby nubby.
oh
No
my
way.
God.
You're making this
I
up.
am not making this up.
Tell me they're
Oh
available
my God.
white letter. Those had to be available in raised white letter.
I don't know, but if you look up Cosmo Tires chubby nubby, I bet you'll find it, and also have an unsafe web
So your
browsing
search history be messed up.
Apparently, they're available at Walmart.
Exactly. They're
All
like a
of
half. They're half step below Douglas. They're super cheap. They're like dirt cheap. But
Dare
you
I
can get-
say link in the show notes?
Oh, you dare. It's going in. They're available on Fire Rack.
They apparently are. This is the heading of their website. Cool Cat approved with K's.
Yes, yes. There's like a tiger.
I
It's
like them.
amazing.
I kind of like this marketing ploy.
This
Yeah.
needs to be the
Yeah.
official tire of the Lemons rally. I think.
Yeah, boy.
The chubby
Yeah.
nubby definitely should.
Yeah, the American Gothic with tigers at the top of the homepage is pretty special. If you can find that, Cosmo Tires, mucho macho.
Yeah, if you go to products, then it's American Gothic with tires.
So
Oh my God, the sound on their website is awful. I suddenly am barraged by friggin'
Let's just move on to upcoming races. Okay,
how did we skip over the generators on the?
Oh, all right. So let me
Oh,
finish the Ford F-150.
It's got 8,000 paragraphs, and he doesn't read his crap anymore.
There's a work tailgate that incorporates cleats for securing longer cargo. There's Dennis Leary was on it. There's a power boost system. Which
Generators. Just talk about the onboard generators.
What do you want me to say?
Okay, so there's
It's a
three
2000,
options.
a 24, and a 7200. Who cares?
A 7,200
cool.
watt built-in generator on your half-ton pickup truck.
Sure.
I'm sure that's only in the.
Okay, stop fighting, guys.
It is. It's in the
Diamond
power boost.
edition
That's
with it.
more amperage than is available in CMP, like in total.
You're not wrong. That is
upcoming race.
okay. Champ Car is at Daytona this holiday weekend. The Sunday event, July 5th event, will be carefully monitored because it's the same weekend as IMSA.
Yeah,
The racers
support race.
Get to watch.
This is a great time to have Daytona and Champ and everything in Florida. Things are going really well in Florida right now.
All right, I gotta put my mask back on. We said
no problem for them. Okay, so there is 105 cars. What? 27 BMWs,
Boring.
13 Miatas, 8 Hondas, a couple P cars, maybe. There you go. Oh, that one's good. And a Ford Ranger, for Jeff. That's what I know.
Because
Just
every time we talk about him with a Hine, or every time we
That
race
is
with
true.
him with the Hine, you're over there drooling over that Ranger.
No, I'm drooling over that Ranger because they actually did a butt ton of work. A, I like those guys. B, they
they're
did
great
a
guys.
butt ton of work because the Ranger of that generation came with that twin I-beam It was the worst suspension ever. You can't raise it. You can't lower it. There's nothing to do to it. They cut it all out and just made it all Mustang. And that's why
the rear Mustang suspension is great because it is so not square in the body.
No, not even
Frame.
close. Like
No.
they didn't have a string or
A tape measure.
when they put it in.
They're free at Harbor Freight. Come on, guys. Looks good to
enough.
me.
Well,
Although we built our first suspension with a bubble level off an iPhone, so
And we had a tape measure though, and we measured in 2 different directions. So that's important.
yeah. Anyway, recent results.
Was this
Who's
me?
ready?
Sorry, I was too busy looking at the Cosmo tires trying to see trying to see if they offer anything in a size that will fit a Lemons car, because that would be hilarious to run some Cosmo Mucho Machos. Yeah.
Or El Jefes.
Yeah.
We got it.
LFAs are a light truck tire, but the Mucho Macho is their 300 treadwear performance tire.
Jeff, you own a light truck. You need a set of raised white letter El
They're-
Jefes.
They start at 16s. They don't go down to 15s, but 16, 17 is all like the popular 17-inch sizes are here, like 245, 40, 17.
Hi, let's talk about recent race results.
But Mucho Machos.
I know.
AER was at NJMP, and both days overall went to SJS Motorsports with Tyre Hoffman and Trevor Andrusko, who've been on the show. Saturday was 2 laps over Random Vandals and 5 laps ahead of Hitman Racing. Sunday was a lot closer, 18-second victory over GTR Motorsports. Third was 11 laps back. All right, great. Dong track.
Yeah, can I real quick mention the accident that happened?
No, because it's not endurance racing.
Well, but it is an interesting.
There is a lot of
thing
the crap that we just talked about.
It's true. During the race, outside the racetrack, a radical
on the access road, right?
On the access road, a radical crashed into the woods on the access road. It is rumored but not known to be true. But I'll just say briefly that there was some serious injuries. There were lots of police action, and the person may not have been wearing their helmet cruising around on the access roads of NJMP. I feel really bad because, I don't want anybody to get hurt. But also, what a wacky way to get, your races shut down. So please do not crash on the access road when you're not even involved in a race.
And now ruining the way that we bed breaks.
Exactly.
Thank you.
They're going to catch on.
How am I going to
really
get the
wanna
brakes if there's some state trooper on the access road trying to make sure that guy doesn't kill himself?
From a race operator point of view, that's like a weird no man's land between two rented tracks. Is technically the track's responsibility, I think. So
yeah.
And I think I read somewhere about that that might be considered public road even. So that's like race organizer nightmare to have that happen there. And track operator nightmare.
Yeah, track operator, absolutely.
Because if there's litigation, they're all getting sued.
Yeah,
everybody who was read everything that weekend's all getting sued.
Yeah, and I do have to say that this is New Jersey, so the New Jersey State Police has authority inside the paddock everywhere,
as
including on the
know.
track. When
was it
Lemons,
the first Jersey race? The cop was in the tower saying, "Bring that guy in." He didn't do anything wrong. I don't like him. Bring him in.
I don't like the way he's driving. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, he's racing, sir. Well, let's talk about Lemons. Let's change the topic. Lemons was at Gingerman. We're going to talk all about it soon enough with the lovely and furry Eric Rood. I think it's a good beard look going. I mean, it's trimmed. It's not like Rona. It's like
I like this.
But they had 105 cars, 11 BMWs.
No,
boring.
That's not right. There were 76 cars.
Oh, so never mind. Sorry.
You may have gotten a preliminary entry list. I think it's somewhere around there. I said.
I looked on the webpage, and I know you've been hella busy doing the next thing, so I did not get an update. You did send us the entry list last week, and that was preliminary one. So
it was awesome too.
So if the numbers are bad, it's my fault.
That is a very minor detail in Lemons.
75 cars.
75
that's a lot. That's still a crowded paddock.
Yeah. There were a couple of Miatas, a couple of Hondas, a couple of Porsches, a Saturn Ute.
Gorgeous.
Or sort of.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in a minute. Yeah. We don't have to cover it right now.
I will tell you the interesting part about the makeup of the entry list was there were 3 Honda Preludes, all different generations, and there were 3 different Saturns, all different Saturns, and all 6 of them finished in the top half of the field.
Whoa.
Wow.
There you go. Totally random.
There was also
only Eric would know that stat right at the top of his head.
Of course.
Well, I looked it up, but yeah.
There was also a Valiant, a 47 Special Deluxe, which last week we decided was a Ford, correct?
It's Plymouth.
It's got a Ford front end on it. It's got a Crown end and the engine. And
there was a ton of stuff.
Ford.
I keep thinking it was a Ford. I was wrong. Overall, went to Save the Tatas. Eric, do you want to talk about the other awards? Because that's all we know.
Sure. Save the Tatas won overall in the Cadillac Seville-bodied Camaro, which is great. The Dunning-Kruger Effect Racing Subaru won Class B, which is a great team name. And Class C went to the Volix C20R.
Is that how you say that?
Of Great Wall Motors, which I am informed that today is the 30th anniversary of Great Wall Motors as well. So great victory, China #1. So
that was awesome. We said Volex last week, didn't we? I think
you know what?
You said it wrong. It's got 2 E's. It's got the E's.
Phil also pointed out that Great Wall Motors makes a pickup truck called the Wingle with a So Cool trim level, which is
For sure he knows this. He probably knew it right off the top of his head.
And I want a So Cool Wingle rolling around on my chubby nubbies. That's
right. You got your life made right there. Yeah, no, Friday, because Phil wasn't there and was having withdrawals, he literally was binging Bulgarian TV spots for Great Wall Motors.
I am not surprised by this.
Yep. They're apparently also built in Bulgaria, so now you know that.
There you go.
So basically, the Volix is like a Ford C-Max. That's pretty much what it is.
It looked like a little teeny weeny minivan.
It kind of had some Suzuki SX4 looking stuff
I'm
to
with
it,
Chris.
too.
I was feeling the SX4 when I looked at it because one of the Sloman brothers was on that crew, and he was a prolific Instagrammer. So it was fun to watch that whole event.
The motor is basically a untouched Yaris motor, like a license built one, so it's like 105 horsepower.
Oh, they actually bothered to get the license. Nice. All right, that's a company on the up and up.
Well, maybe, who can say? Whatever. So the story behind the car, by the way, and maybe I should just let you guys talk to Nick Haney sometime. He'll tell you all about it. But basically, one of the big three brought 2 of them in to the country. They nut and bolted one of them, just total tear down. See how the Chinese are knocking their crap off, basically. And then the other one,
sue them for.
And then the other one, they road tested and then sent to a dismantler, who instead of dismantling it, somehow registered it in Michigan because why not?
It's Detroit.
And
Is
Daily
it rusty?
drove it.
No.
And Daily drove it for 4 years. Oh God, it is so rusty. So,
oh God.
So Nick bought it last year. He bought it probably like a year and a half ago, and has been tinkering with it, ordering brake pads off of Alibaba and the whole 9 yards. So, but I mean, if you ever wondered how like a compact crossover would do in Lemons, it'll finish 14th overall, it turns out, with 100 horsepower.
If you're really good at what you do, they had to wheel the bejesus out of that thing.
They did drive it pretty hard, but not so hard. Like they knew what they were doing.
That driver's roster, those were not clowns. That was I think almost every one of them's got an overall.
Yeah, I think
I
think all 4 of those guys won last year with Brett Sloman in the Celica at Gingerman. So I mean, it wasn't like total noob showing up with a Chinese car, but it was still a Chinese car. You know?
with zero parts. I mean, if they blew a water pump, they were done, right? I mean,
maybe the Yaris stuff bolts on, but it probably doesn't. So
wrong enough. Yeah,
just wrong enough. That's
exactly.
Right.
That hole ain't in the right spot. Drill it.
We kind of abbreviated the trophy, so we didn't give out a heroic fixer, and I got screwed. There was definitely a heroic fix story, so we'll get to that in a second. We did give out the regional trophy to Team NASCAR, who had a Lincoln Mark 8, and that trophy was just called because it's a big purple Mark 8. I mean, it's just everything you need in Lemons. Judge's choice, we gave out to some newbies in a Fox body Mustang. It's car 69 Hofschau's Frankenstein. Just a bunch of noobs who did everything right. Org choice went to the Boneyard Butchers in the Saturn Ute, which we can talk about as well.
And I'm going to do the shameless plug. Get on the 24 Hours of Lemons Instagram and look at this thing. It is, or go to their Facebook page. Just so well done.
They did a good job. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. I would daily drive that car.
Now, wait a minute, Wenzel. Hold on a second. Did it look as good in real life as it did in the pictures?
Absolutely. 100%. It was. So the story behind it is the guy who built it, Eric Pisano, I think is his name. He raced with the guy who brought the Solstice last year, like at that first race, and had fun. Was like, you know what? I need to build one of these myself. So he went on Copart. He runs a wrecking yard, so he's in Copart every day, and he found a Sky that had just been absolutely clobbered from behind. So he just ripped all the bodywork off, had a Colorado that had the front end smashed in, and just kind of
fused them together.
Fused them together.
Played some very white, turned the lights down.
Totally. Yeah. And then, like once he did it, like, welded it all together. It's basically just the skin of the Colorado bed and the roof. So he didn't put the actual whole bed on it. But I mean, he started this last April. So he spent 14 months just polishing the bejesus out of the thing.
Ronication done correctly.
Yeah. So he had it out. I think he had it done a couple months ago because he brought it out to Gingerman at one of their track days, which is where I saw the first glimpse of it. I was like, holy shit, look at this thing.
Yeah.
And then the motor in it is an LFX out of an Impala. So a wrecked Impala rental car is a 300 horsepower V6. So the thing just flies.
Yeah, nice.
Fantastic.
I had no idea that would bolt to the transmission in the Solstice.
I don't think it bolted.
God,
how close it did.
It's something with a 5-speed, so it isn't the original Solstice transmission.
Solstice
I think it's a Colorado.
5, which is the one, the Solstice and Colorado share a trans.
Then it is, yeah. There you go.
Wow.
Interesting.
Who knew?
Matt. Huh. I have to make sure Matt knows about that.
Yeah, and this is now the car we're going to see forever in Lemons is the V6 swapped Solstice. I'm totally okay with that.
Absolutely.
Look at the thing. Yeah. So that was the org choice. And then IOE went to the Gorilla Greasers in the 72 Valiant. 318, column shifted automatic, driven to the track, and had been bought new by one of the team members' dads in 1972.
Nice.
Totally awesome.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And not with a leaning tower of power. Most of those Valiants, and they're all the slants. So guy got the big V8.
Yeah. Well,
Little
the
V8,
small
really.
V8. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, bigger than
Valiant.
the slant. I mean,
Yeah.
And also much heavier. So
Yeah.
there is that.
it's
Yeah.
true.
But
And-
they were the slowest car. They finished 45th out of 76. So
That's not bad.
But they finished.
I don't know how that beats a Volex in 17th, but whatever.
14th. Well,
14th.
yeah. At the end of the day, well, we also abbreviated the trophy, so we only gave out 7, I think. So we didn't want to give them 2 of them. Basically,
Got it. That makes sense.
What that ultimately came down to. But I mean, as it turns out, the Chinese have gotten really good at copying pretty much everything. So it's basically the equivalent of racing like a Chevy Trax, except for probably a higher quality build.
That's how we make them.
I could hear the love for GM pouring through the microphone as we get to listener feedback.
So we did do the Pimp Your Trailer episode, and Chris E. gave us a lengthy feedback. I know this is all about trailers, but since you mentioned the 12-volt LED strips, put that stuff in your race car too. I am nowhere near the first person to do this, but it's genius. We lined the sunroof block-off panel up with them and put it on a 3-way switch so I could power it directly from the battery or from an external 12-volt power source. It makes working inside the car so much better. I also put a few strips on the underside of the hood to help light the engine bay at night. He does have pictures on our Facebook. It's a great idea, and actually it also works for anyone who's going to be running a 24 or a night race because it's going to make strapping in that driver a lot easier as well. And then Uncle Dave talking about the air conditioning. Suggestion for your portable air conditioners: a single hose discharge will create negative pressure in the trailer, pulling heat and humidity into the trailer, increasing your heat load and or making it cold and clammy. A dual hose system pulls the outside air in across the condenser and discharges back outside. Don't ask me how I know, but he is Uncle Dave.
Yep. And for the once or twice a year that I'm going to run it, oh, well, this is the one I got. So, yep. From our Meatbag Touches the Machine episode, we had a lot of responses. Chris E. again said, thanks for Hamza for sharing that document. If I ever touch my E36 again, I aspire to have the controls as well thought out. We've come a long way on that subject, but still aren't that good. What we have now is a tiny bit better, but still room for improvement. So the switches are a little close and violate the orientation rules. Everything on the passenger footwell kick panel is just circuit breaker stuff. Doesn't impact the driver. And power for the light strips on the roof for working on the car at night. And it's way better than the Daytona, which was just a street sign with random switches put wherever it's like, there, that's it, done.
Well, when you put the drill, because you got to drill a hole for the switch, you just put it in and like the bit like walks over like 3 inches. You just go, it's good as ever.
Yep, exactly. That's pretty much what it was. And James M said, great episode. Very interested in the mil-spec human input guide. I wanted to implement this on the build we're working on, so excellent. Eric K asked, so where do I get my certificate for having taken this course? I think it's funny how Hamza taught me through experience his point that if the user doesn't trust what he's seeing, he'll not focus on the driving. At the very first race I drove his BMW pit race, the temp gauge would not show any heat. In the normal Hamza way, after I reached him on the radio, he told me not to care and just stay out. But it sure made me concerned I was hurting the machine. I learned that lesson that day. And finally, Bill F. said, I've already noticed my displeasure with this episode. It is 1 week too late, because apparently Bill had just finished the new switch panel on his E36 and now realized how wrong it was. Oh, well.
You got time to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're doing some Racer Rona reaction. Sunday, the I-Second Racing crew ran Road Atlanta for a 2-hour Funduro. We think there was a race. Mental found an old friend between a discussion of Mercedes and Chris. Eric hung in there as long as he could, but he couldn't walk down a ramp or drink water. He decided it was time to bow out. Tomorrow, there's a Silly Hats race, which we might be commenting on. Who knows what's going to happen. Silly Hats is no wheels, no pedals. Anything new that you know that's going on, Eric?
You assume that I've done any kind of setup or preparation at this point.
Well, you're at this show, and this is taking up your prep
yeah,
time.
it's going to be great.
I'm sure it is.
Going to be a old man fashioning a kayak out of wood.
Excellent.
There might be that.
A couple of weeks ago, we had the one where the guy was playing the French horn, and no one was prepared for that. And he had some sort of actual sound analyst that would do inputs according to the notes that he was doing, and that was awesome.
It's gotten a little crazy.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. 2 months ago, when we started doing that, it was like 2.5 months. God,
a long freaking time.
You weren't supposed to take this seriously. You guys are soldering up things. This isn't weird.
Well, I mean, Lemons people are going to tinker. Like, you can't stop them from tinkering. So giving them something to tinker on in the meantime, I think that's been fantastic. And just the best thing we've done with any of the iRacing stuff is introducing that ability.
Hats,
Yes,
it's just a different outlet for creativity.
Yeah, totally.
When people can't do it with the cars. Yeah, I just wonder how he had the lung capacity for staying on the gas all the way down the street with a French horn.
He said it just about killed him.
And we watched. He had a camera on him live, and we were all waiting for him to just fall over and pass out, like Vicini in The Princess Bride.
Yep.
That
Jeff wouldn't make it down straight. Yeah. Nope.
Well, the good news is Jeff is not going to speed in the pits. So.
No.
No, definitely not.
So we had our E1R race Monday night.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. We opened up. We thought we'd have some fun this week, and so we opened up with a figure eight at Irwindale, which is always just hilarious. I think it was everything from legends to NASCARs to Hamza's like, Hamza picked the Miata. He's like, well, this is a terrible choice, but whatever. He sent it anyway. Fantastic time there. That's always a laugh. And then second
I
race.
To say before we get off that, if you're going to a figure eight race in iRacing, there is no better car. I don't care what you're against than the Legend. The Legend is
literally every car is better than the Legend.
No way. I drove one too.
The Legend is so fast and accelerates so hard. It keeps up with the 87 NASCARs. And when the Pro Trucks hit you, they're so high that you just hit them so low they roll.
When you hit my Mustang, you bounced off of it like my Chihuahua bouncing off my ankle.
Kept going.
Because it does nothing to alter me.
They're made out of rubber or something. I hit so many people and they went right into the pits and I just kept on going.
Yeah.
You hit me and I wouldn't notice. I just keep driving.
Mm-hmm. So then we decided we went to 1987 Daytona. We got Daytona Oval Legacy. So it was all still bumpy and terrible and only in the 87s, which are terrible to drive too. So it's double terrible. really Jeff couldn't count to 4 to like figure out where any of the turns were. Like
They were like, Jeff, where are you? I was like, I'm on a left. I don't know.
It's after the straight.
Yeah.
I see some grandstands. Yeah.
To be
Pits
fair,
on my left.
the D-shaped ovals is really like 2 turns. I mean,
It
maybe
really
3.
is. It really
And
is hard.
Jeff couldn't figure that
Couldn't
out.
figure that
He had
out.
But I don't
no
care.
idea.
I don't watch NASCAR. I don't care about NASCAR. I sure as hell didn't care in 1987. Why would I know what the hell Daytona looks like?
So, but we just didn't stop laughing. I think it's because we're all so terrible at the same time, but all trying to send it. So like when Menzel goes past the pace car and then immediately clangs into the wall. He's just going past a bunch of stopped cars. Clang. Like Hamza couldn't stay straight. He at one point passed everybody like down on the apron and then kind of slid back up and kept it going. That on our announcement thread on Facebook, Tom posted some videos. It was just terrible fun. Yeah,
It's amazing how far those cars will slide through the infield at
forever.
when you're doing 187 and you hit the grass, there is just no stopping where
you
you're
accelerate.
going.
Yeah. So anyway, we always do this Mondays at 9 and 10 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Look under hosted races for E1R. If you want the password, you can contact us or think about what our favorite brake pads are that I may have even mentioned tonight in the show for the race car. And then Richard Petty.
Yeah.
And so hey, you can join the Discord chat too. So
Absolutely.
it's a good time.
You know who never comes racing with us? We've been iRacing for a very long time. Chrissy's mom has yet to join us in an iRace. I think she's at your house like most days, right? At this point?
No, not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
And
No,
then
she
they
moved
went
back out. Oh.
Yes. She goes
I
home.
want-
And she's
I want
never
her-
tried the iRacing setup.
She has not.
I've offered. And
She
said
even
no.
tried the VR. Like that one party we had, at least my father and brother-in-law was playing with it.
Yeah.
But
I
Nobody
put my
will give her a
mother in
chance.
the VR.
yeah, how'd you do?
Did
Did you dojo?
No, we did the get used to VR, like the first step.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With the ping
Little
pong
guy?
paddle and the dance with the
You
robot.
throw things. Yeah, I like dancing with the robot.
Oh well.
Yeah, well.
So, main topic time. We don't just bring out the beard for nothing. Eric, you're actually here to talk to us about some interesting topics. Yes, we're going to talk about the race. We're going to do that first so we can talk about all the cool stuff. But we also want to talk about what it's like life in the paddock, trying to stay socially distant and things. So let's get the fun part out first. What haven't you told us about the race?
Well, I mean, we should start with the people who finished at the bottom of the standings because those are always the best stories.
Those are the real heroes of Lemons.
Yeah,
That's right.
DFL was the Fast and the Spurious team out of Pittsburgh.
Great name.
They had I think it was like an 03 Eclipse with a V6, and you will never guess what they were doing the first time I saw them on Friday morning.
Changing the
engine.
transmission.
I was
They
on
had-
transmission.
They had the heads out off, and they were doing a head gasket. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Nice.
like 8:30 a.m. on Friday. So they had unloaded it off the trailer and like pulled the
That's
dipstick
sad.
out and just got milkshake. And unfortunately, they didn't end up turning a single lap. They passed tech, they went out, and I don't think they ever went all the way around.
I know it's not time for quick questions, but what do you think would do better? A post-2000 third generation Eclipse or an Eclipse Cross on a racetrack?
Well, I mean, we saw what a crossover will do, which is just keep going around. I would say probably an Eclipse Cross. A good lap at Gingerman's like a 155. I would say an Eclipse will probably do like a 53 or a 50, and an Eclipse Cross will do like a 208 and would
But the
kick the
Eclipse
crap
Cross-
out of the
okay.
Eclipse. Yeah.
It would
Exactly.
literally
We'll keep going.
insert anything and
Yeah.
a first generation Eclipse. My Chihuahua and my Chihuahua is going to completely
the third
more laps
generation.
around Gingerman.
Don't mess with the first gen. DSMs,
My dog will do more laps around that track.
anything made at Diamond Star
Well,
Motors.
the crank will take the dog for a walk when you're done. So
True.
There were 2 Eclipses at this race. Jeff, do you want to guess at their lap total for the weekend combined?
Ooh. What generation was the other one?
It was the first gen.
Was it a turbo or a non-turbo?
They had just added a turbo.
Oh,
I bet I only I'm gonna go with I only need
12
one
on
hand.
that one.
I'm gonna go with I need one hand for both laps.
I'm gonna say
total
12
laps.
on the turbo first gen, 25 on the third gen. I'm gonna say 37.
The third gen did 0, and the first gen did 99.
Okay.
And turned a fast lap of 2 minutes, which it was laboring to do that.
I'm sure.
Other good stuff.
I still would buy another one in a heartbeat.
Chad Adams had his Fairlane that he bought out of Texas. They had all kinds of problems with overheating. Came in just blasting oil out of everything, out of every orifice under the engine. So they toasted it. We had, I think it's our second S197 Mustang. It was a V6 5-speed. Finished 70th out of 76.
Fantastic.
How many
that's
laps?
racing heritage right there for the Mustang.
Take a guess at the lap total.
7.
No, it's more than
No.
17.
28.
It made 82 laps.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And then Knights Templar, the Neon that has won many races before, did 45 and blew up spectacularly on Saturday morning, like billowing smoke over the brow of turn 3 from the paddock. So they swapped an engine. You may have seen that photo on our Instagram. Go check that one out of Owen, the team owner, looking through the giant hole in the block. You can see his eye on the far side of it.
Very
Fantastic.
artsy photo. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. What else? The MC5 series is a super cheaty E39 with a 5.3 truck motor in it that they retained
Cheaters.
the BMW transmission for some reason. It did 49 laps. So it's doing a lot for them.
LS swap seemed like a great idea. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does.
Did they have an MC5 like the band theme?
Yep.
Nice.
That's the one. Yeah. And then the heroic fix story, again, we didn't give the trophy out, but it was the Petrosexuals with the Cadiata, the 4.9 liter Cadillac V8 swapped in the Miata, which, by the way, is the first time I've seen it in person. The fab work on the intake is just phenomenal. And then it has side pipes. I mean, and sounds incredible. It's one of the coolest cars I think we have in Lemons. But they blew up. I think they torched one of their heads on Friday. One of their team members was still in Denver. They had towed out from Colorado for this race because they missed their race. And the team member who was coming in later carried on a pair of Cadillac 4.9 liter heads on his flight. So
did you like duct tape?
Was it in a bag?
Like, yeah.
What is it? How did they?
I don't know. I should have asked for a photo. Maybe
That's
I will.
awesome. I do
Hope
this
it wasn't in a
supercar.
bag.
I do the supercar instruction bit, and the show friend Josh Jenny needed a Miata head, and our guy Lambo Pete brought his as a carry-on and had to have a conversation with TSA. They're like, "Well, it's big and heavy," and he goes, "Yeah, is there a weight limit?" "Well, no." "You know, what's the rules?" "Well, the rules say it can't be used as a weapon." And Lambo Pete, who is a kind of a bowed up guy, goes, "Pick it up and use it as a weapon." And the TSA person couldn't pick up the head, and they go, "You're fine. Just go." Yeah. So I imagine Denver, this could be a weapon. It's a Cadillac cylinder head. Pick it up and use it as a weapon. First, anybody that carries a Cadillac cylinder head onto a flight, you want them on that plane. That's going to thwart any terrorist right there.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't have any gasket. They couldn't find gaskets for it, so they just used like the spray gasket. And they're like, we'll see what happens. It did. It ran the whole weekend.
Oh,
with
it did
spray
not.
gasket. Yeah, it did.
Oh, we're just
I
like
was going to ask, has anyone ever successfully done a head with just the
one.
two?
There's been one
team.
person. Yep.
They got lucky.
At least use like copper RTV, man. Okay, whatever.
Also, they built one of the best pit vehicles I've ever seen. So they took a mobility scooter and they cut it in half and then they built a like a square tube frame to like put one half on, one and one half on the other. And then the car that donated the 4.9 liter V8, they just took the front bench out and put it onto the frame with the working like 50-way power seat, like wired in. Still works.
Excellent.
So you could like recline.
A wide track power scooter.
It was a wide track power seat. Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So let's see here. Wonderment was there. What happened with them?
The Wonderment Consortium, man. Magnets for misadventure, those guys.
Anybody that chooses a Volkswagen Quantum as a good idea, that tells you something.
Yes, but it's Audi motored, right?
Does that make it better, Jeff?
No.
It has like an S4 motor. It's a 20 valve turbo swapped in.
They left the door open, apparently.
Shocking. You will be shocked to hear that an Audi engine had intermittent electrical issues that they couldn't solve.
No way.
Shocking. Like it would run for 40 minutes and then it would shut off for no reason. And then they would park it for 10 and it'd be fine.
It is time for my mandated break according to the EU regulations of labor.
That's right. Labor unions is the answer. And then during one of their cool down moments, they lifted the hood. We're working on it. Whatever. Crank started. Okay, hood down, go. Oh, these are the hood pins.
And they Bill Fishered it. That's what they
I saw that. That's so sad.
They made it about 40 feet down the pit out.
Pit access. I saw that. Another great photo. Your photo art interpretation this weekend was on point.
I was in the right place at the right time a couple times. So, it was unfortunate for the Wonderment Consortium, but they still finished 46th, which is pretty good for their recent track record. So
we had Andy and Blake were looking to Ironman a Lexus. Did it make it?
No. Brake problems. I don't remember exactly what happened, but something broke in one of the caliper pistons and it kind of stuck halfway engaged. So they're basically dragging the brakes for 2.5 hours till everything
on a 4,000-pound car. Yeah.
Yep.
And it is worth reminding everyone that Andy is the guy that runs the bus tour company of Detroit and also converted to making hand sanitizer and only hiring locals. So you can, if you go to Detroit Bus Company and it's got links to their hand sanitizer, which they sell at
it's now Arsenal of Clean. They have a new
Arsenal of Clean. Yeah, that's right.
Arsenal of Clean. Barely the minimum that they need to keep their operation profitable and pay their people a good wage.
Yep. I just got a case from them the other day.
Yeah, nice. Andy's a good dude.
Yes.
He also lost a wheel bearing on his trailer on the way home. I don't know if you saw that on the Instagram.
That's the worst. You know what that's like. It's very sad.
Yeah, after a Lemons race, for those of you who have never done it, you're spent. What you want more than like sex and a steak is your bed. You're just like, I want to sleep.
That's when self-driving cars seem like a good idea after a race weekend. I just want to get in my truck and say, home.
The last thing you want
I don't want sex or a steak either. I usually want a good shower too.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't want anything other than a shower and a bed.
Okay. Yes, correct.
You do not want a shower or a steak. You want bed.
Yes.
Imagine doing a wheel bearing on the side of the road. No.
Nope.
So, are there any other stories? Or are we ready to talk about what it's like in the paddock?
That's most of it. I know in the show notes you mentioned what was the quality of driving like, and it was actually, with a couple of exceptions, it was really good. I think people realized that they'd spent a lot of time being off the track, and the last thing they wanted to do was go shove their car into somebody else's. So people were really well behaved for the most part.
Probably just enjoying the fact that the camaraderie was back and not so red misted up on trying to win the race.
Yeah,
that's how it's going to be in the Northeast. Everyone's got the red mist has been saved. Like, pour the buckets of mist out. Yeah,
it was probably good that we started in the Midwest where everybody's pretty chill in general. It was the biggest compliment I think we got all weekend was we're just glad to be here. Like everybody was so thankful that we were able to even have an event. I don't think anybody wanted to ruin anybody else's weekend by driving like a douche. So
Got it.
Yeah. Save
Well,
that
that's
for
cool.
August.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Rona. So I watched the driver's meeting by Jay live, sleeping in my bed, and I woke up. My phone was like, 24 Hours of Lemons is live. Oh, it is? Click. And I watched the driver's meeting from New Jersey. It seemed that Jay was doing it like from his house.
He's in his hotel room about 6 miles from the track.
Oh, okay. So he was at the race.
Yeah, Jay was there.
I thought this was like a giant ruse so that he could just do the races from his bedroom with his slippers on. But no, he was
it's like
actually
New
at the
Zealand.
race.
It actually didn't exist. We made everything up.
Weird.
So okay, so he was
Quite
in his
the
hotel
story.
room.
For the driver's meeting, yeah.
For the driver's meeting. Okay.
But he was at the track the rest of the weekend. Yeah, Jay was
Got
on
it.
site. Yeah.
So the driver's meeting and the award ceremony was online, right?
The awards ceremony we didn't really do one. We kind of did a paddock parade where we lined up the winners, gave them their trophy, and let them kind of go around the paddock and let people applaud for them.
Okay.
It wasn't maybe the best. It was almost an afterthought, and I hate to say that, but like we were so preoccupied with,
Having
the
a
fact
race.
that, the fact that we were going to have a race and that we anticipated having our hands full with, the basic mechanics of stuff. It was kind of, we'll do this, and then we did it, and I think people liked it. We just need to be a little more.
Yeah.
We need to have thought about it about 24 hours ahead of the way we actually did it. But
So how about like tech inspection and all that? Because we heard, we heard the rules. We want to know how it actually happened.
Sure, I'll tell you how everything was just from arrival till people left. I think that's important for people to understand that. First of all, the big rule was everybody had to be pre-registered. There was no on-site registering and no spectators. And interestingly, that made for kind of a really focused weekend. I guess that's a weird way to say it, but there weren't just people wandering around the paddock. Everybody had something to be doing during the race weekend. So there was just kind of, nobody was parking their big truck in the fire lane and stuff like that. Those kinds of things that we have to worry about as race organizers. So from our perspective, that it was actually kind of a nice change of pace. But basically, once you showed up, you pull your trailer up to the gate, and we would just take one team at a time, register you at the gate with your license. So you get your driver's wristband right at the gate and then go in. And then we would be parking people. Gingerman has some reserved spots, so we'd show people where their reserved spot was. And if it wasn't a reserved spot, we'd kind of show them what was open, make sure they left 10 feet in between their paddock and somebody else's. And then
It's going to be a challenge at Thompson.
I was going to say, Gingerman is a big place. I assume you have a plan for the littler places.
Yeah. Thompson is probably a place where we're going to have to take the paddock map, carve out assigned spaces, and just assign stuff outside of the garage spaces. The stuff that the track rents, we'll retain that. But
I wonder if you can go into the oval, like part of the oval. We park trailers over there.
Yeah,
I wonder if they'll let us expand over there. Who knows?
We'll see. Right now we're working on the ridge, which has its own challenges, namely lack of facilities. So it's doable, and I think we're gonna do it. But that's just where we are with that. But once you got to your paddock space, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go. Keep telling us.
Anytime you left your paddock, you had to wear a mask, and 6 feet of social distancing. People were really good about that all weekend. I think.
Did anybody have a really cool mask? Like,
there was a lot of
Lemons people should come up with something interesting.
The League of Legitimate Nigerian Businessmen were Queen themed, so they all had the Freddie Mercury mustache
on top of the mask. I saw that.
I saw those. They should be selling those. That's a fundraiser right there. Those were brilliant.
Those are really good. The Rod Throne Fools all had different lemons fabric, that one of the teammates' wives had made, I think. There was a lot of like gaiters, the what Jeff was wearing, the ascot looking thing. I had like super old surgical masks that, you know, had the ties in the back, and then I just ironed patches on the front. Keep it Lemons themed.
But generally people were respectful of the rules. No issues with people. I'm not wearing a mask. Pigeon my freedom.
Yeah, no, I think people understood, and we made it pretty clear that, you know, we weren't going to have any MAGA arguments over it. You know, like, this is just the way it is, and if you don't like it, you know, that's the gate. It's not something.
Feel free to not wear a mask on the other side of that fence.
That's right. And we also made sure that in the track provided somebody just clean bathrooms like constantly, which reminds me I feel like that's going to be a tip for that.
Yeah, not just the challenge at because I haven't been to the Ridge, but at Thompson, you know, Jeff's silly nanny shower buddies. They're not 6 feet people.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The social distancing was also pretty well maintained. For the most part, people just stayed in their paddocks, which, you know, it kind of is
killed
a bummer from the party atmosphere. But, you know, it didn't stop people from doing, you know, like remember when the coronavirus stuff all started and you'd see the pictures of the neighborhood dads hanging out, drinking the beers 6 feet apart. That's pretty much what was going on in the paddock. You know, you could still kind of walk around, see what people were doing. We weren't going to crack down too hard on that. And it's also
genuinely hoping that that's an era of revising pit vehicles, like just cool stuff that shows up in the pits and people can cruise around and still be social and maintain that. I heard a phrase today that I like. It says, maintain physical distance, not social distance.
Yeah.
But still talk to your friends kind of a deal. I remember eons ago at New Hampshire, the lighted disco stage that would drive around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm hoping that a positive outcome of this will be stuff like that Cadillac seat on a Jazzy scooter chassis and just fun pit vehicles again.
Yeah.
I was going to say the dance floor had about 85 people
so
that's not social distancing. It was a distance away from you when it rolled by, but did not have on the actual dance floor. Not social distancing.
Right.
Fair.
So tech and inspection.
Yeah. So we assign tech times, which turns out solves a problem we didn't know we had, which is, you know,
the line. Yes.
The giant line at the start. You know, and people seem to appreciate it that, you know, they didn't have to rush through their day. They knew when they had to be there and they knew they were going to have time. So basically the way it worked was you showed up at your announced time. Gingerman shockingly has a PA that works well, so we were just using that in addition to having it posted. So you would show up, we do BS inspection, and it was pretty basic. I mean, I know 90% of the cars that showed up, and then the rest were new, and they were fairly easy to class. No bribes. We requested people donate to Lemons of Love, which you can
How'd they end up doing this weekend?
I think they got 1,700, which is not bad for Jill not having to be at the track. I mean,
that's great. Good.
And for the messaging, you know, being pretty much online only, I think that was pretty good. So we did BS. Have any of you guys been to Gingerman? No.
Oh, mental.
Yeah, so there's a timing tower there. So we did BS on the north side. There is a garage on the first floor that's like a drive-through, but we just made that staff only, so people went around the tower. Nice. And then tech inspection was on the south end, and we had 2 lanes. So BS inspection was put off the car or up, you know, released, and then I would, you know, take a look at the car a little bit. Driver stays in the car, goes around after that to tech inspection, pulls up, does the brake light test and the kill switch test before they get out, and then they go stand. You know, we had a designated spot basically where they stand. Well, then Dale and Jay were doing tech, and it was pretty much a normal tech. And then once you pass tech, we just had a packet with your sticker and your transponder in a bag, like in a plastic bag, and then another sticker that we made to like put on people's dashboard as a reminder, you know, here's the flags, you know, when you're being towed, drag the brakes, you know, not if, but when, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
that was pretty much it. It was super basic. We tried to pare stuff down as much as we could and limit contact, and people were really receptive to it.
And penalties get a little boring because we just did time penalties, as I understood.
We didn't just do time penalties. We did some stuff that was like, go back to your paddock, the Bart Simpson. We did a couple of those, which is, you have a Sharpie in your paddock space and you write the thing.
That you did 100 times on your hood or whatever.
Yeah.
So some socially distant fun penalties.
Yeah, it wasn't all just stop screwing up or we'll park you. We did the West Virginia homestead penalty also, which is
that's
classic.
excellent. Absolutely.
With the Saturn.
I was going to say, what's that one?
You got to explain that one.
You put the car up on jack stands and sit around in chairs eating salty snacks.
Yeah.
That
was the old 7 Point days.
But it's never a penalty.
Yeah.
I've given that penalty out at 7 Point. Remember those kids with the Fiat 128?
Yes.
The little Fiat
yeah.
thing? I gave them that penalty. They were so excited. They ran back to their bag. They got all their stuff, and they owned that penalty. They were thrilled. I think they were just hungry.
You got to be shirtless, too, when you do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Totally.
No, that's great. I'm glad that stuck around, because when I saw the packet, and I saw the rule set, that was one of the ones that kind of like bummed me out, because that is something uniquely Lemons that I'm glad we can still do.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be dressed up in a costume and a mask. You might as well make me do stupid stuff.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be a work in progress for that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right. So, and I've been to I was at Gingerman, probably 5 years ago. And the track manager, it may be a different company. She was a wonderful lady. And she was telling me how her husband had a heart attack years before that. So they had completely revamped the menu at the grill. And the grill at Gingerman was really good. And I know, like, we get very spoiled in Three Pedal Mafia because we always show up with a meal plan. But there are a lot of teams that are like drive-throughs. And
I brought a bag of chips.
Exactly, that kind of stuff. Just
Smithers, the Cheetos, please.
The Cheetos. There's a lot of teams that plan on food accessibility, and with the actual quality, was the grill able to function? Did they have their own rules?
Yeah, it was normal grill. Excuse me. The staff were wearing the masks, and then it was 6 feet in the line, and then go wait over here while your food's made. So it was.
They had really good wraps because they were like fresh vegetables from a farm just down the road. I love eating at Gingerman.
Yeah, they still have that.
Oh, that's
pretty
great.
good.
Good to know.
Yeah. What else was there? Oh, and then we also did the short-lived thing we had a few years ago, where it was the I Love Poll, where we put our favorite cars. We put our favorite cars on at the start of Saturday.
I actually didn't mean that. I love doing that, like picking the cars that are the most fantastic and having them start day two.
So instead of picking them at the track, just to give me a head start on BS, I had people just email me ahead of time, and that went out in the communications. And I got 10 people email me, and I was like, cool. You 10 start at the front, so if and maybe they were the best cars.
Technology,
maybe they
you bunch of Luddites.
Yeah. Thank you. It was basically a thank you for reading the emails that we've been spamming you for 2 weeks.
Nice.
So,
also, was there on-track communication via email or electronic device, or did you just use the PA?
We had talked about setting up a text system, like a mass text system. Yeah. I know Grid Life uses it, and I think
AER uses it too.
AER does, yeah. We ultimately decided at Gingerman, the PA we knew is good and very useful there, so we stuck with that.
That's good, because most of the other ones are like a bus station.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's or you like can hear it's over there, but you it's not loud. It's still quiet. You still can't hear what it's saying.
Or the echo is up against it. Yeah. So I think we're going to work on that for the Ridge and Thompson. I don't remember Thompson's PA being particularly good.
Well, it's good
if you're standing next to it. It's
so
okay.
far away. Like
that's the problem.
Thompson's a tale of two haves and have-nots. If you're in the haves, you can hear it. If you're in the have-nots, nope.
Yeah. So those are refinements we're gonna have to come up with. But I mean, the takeaway was that our hunches and the way we wanted to run it for the safety of our staff were totally things we could do, and things that people really respected and followed the rules on. And gives us hope that, we're going to be able to keep doing races, basically.
Yeah. Any discoveries? Was there like something that you could tell the racers that will make them more successful? Is there something that you thought was going to work that didn't work that you're now changing up? Or then you knew we discovered this and we're going to change our policy or anything like that? Other than you mentioned that the ending ceremonies might be different.
Yeah, the trophies are probably going to be thought. We're going to think a little bit more about that, I think, now that we know everything else works-ish. Obviously facility to facility is going to be a bit of a challenge. Gingerman was actually really well laid out for what we needed to do, which isn't always going to be the case. But yeah, I think that's part of it. To be frank, we haven't had our official debrief yet. That'll be tomorrow morning. We were all basically at the track from Thursday at noon until Sunday at 4.
Yeah, but nothing glaring or nothing major that you're like, here's a great tip, everybody.
We got to fix that next time. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to take credit for that because we had the What to Expect When Racing Resumes episode. I'm going to say everyone listened to it. And, one of those was don't be a dick. And so that's why everyone.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing. And also just, it's the hardest thing in the world. It's the easiest thing to tell somebody to do, and it's the hardest thing to actually do, which is just have your shit together. I mean,
that's not that bad of advice. I'll be honest with you, because there are a lot of teams that have been coming for years and years and years and still can't, like, oh, we forgot our inspection sheet. Can we have an inspection sheet from you? Or
yeah, exactly.
And forcing the tech time of, we'll fix that at track. We'll have plenty of time. No, you show up. Crap, dude. Once we unload the car, we've got 7.
Well, it's not like people haven't had months to do this. Like,
right. It's exactly it. And the really interesting thing about the assigned tech times is, we built it in such a way that we built some downtime, and we built half-hour blocks and did 8 cars, scheduled 8 cars.
Yeah. Group
with
A,
2 inspectors.
Please come to the inspection station.
And, I figured that was more than enough time. And it is, unless, you're spending 5 minutes looking at a weld, which happens, that's kind of part of the process. But the upshot of that is, 20 minutes, you got all 8 cars that you were going to get through. You don't have to rush and get the next guys lined up. You can go take a piss. You can have a drink of water. You can find food to eat. And that stuff totally makes the whole process bearable.
If you're staring at a weld for 5 minutes, that's a car that's not going to pass.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
That means it's Pagel doing the inspection.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're looking more.
Minutes.
If it's just not one weld, it's all of them, because now you're realizing this is the problem. You have to figure out which ones need to be fixed.
And that's the trick to tech, is when you find something like an incomplete weld, you start wondering what else hasn't been done completely right. And usually you find 6 or 7 things.
So E1R top tip, make all your welds so pretty
that you don't have to worry about the rest of the shit.
Yeah.
You don't get a second glance.
No,
But don't fill your incomplete welds with caulking and paint over it. That's bad.
That's bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest with you. We're all living in a Rona world, and I've been working with higher ed, and we talked a lot about in our office about, like, there's a lot of things that we should have been doing anyway.
Yeah.
We should have had it. We should have had a good online presence. We should be prepared to email everyone the agenda before the meeting. We should be available on YouTube and have a robust YouTube presence. So, times for tech inspection sounds like a great improvement even when the Rona's gone.
Yep. 100% agree with that. I think that's one of the big takeaways. And, just managing the paddock a little better at, move in, I think, is another thing that we'll probably be working towards.
Yeah. Was it more staff labor intensive? Like, did you have to work harder to do all of that? I mean, obviously you have to work harder, but, like, did it pay dividends because the chaos was less?
Yeah, it did. The video in your background is one of my favorite things on the internet. Also,
by the way, if you're only if you're only hearing us in podcast land, check out the YouTube channel to see Eric's favorite video of all times. That's you right there, isn't it? That's this guy right here in the white.
Yep. That's me. No,
I thought it was the one in the green and black.
That one?
Yes.
That one, yes.
Yeah. My train of thought just totally left the building.
Yeah.
The question was it beneficial? Did you actually work less because even though you worked harder in the beginning, there was less chaos?
Yeah.
I'll block as much of my screen as I can so you can.
Yes. So that's even more distracting. That's way worse, actually. The Friday night or Friday morning and Thursday night setups really helped make Friday a lot easier. Saturday and Sunday, the race days are always going to be the race days. There's not a whole lot we can do about that in the penalty box. It's always going to be labor intensive, and you're always going to feel like you should have been done 3 hours ago when there's 3 hours to go. So, but yeah, I think the work we did, drafting up procedures and all that crap, ahead of time, paid dividends, and thinking about the problems as best as we could at a time really made everything go pretty smoothly.
Yeah, it definitely, and we talked to Jay about this, is the world of lemons evolved organically. Mm-hmm. And no one has probably ever stepped back and said, hey, if we had to redo this all over again, clean sheet of paper, how would we run this kind of thing? And it's probably worth it. Probably worth it every second. We'll finish up with this. What do you think the future looks like? Obviously, we see COVID spiking again. You were in the Midwest, and you're from the Midwest, so that's kind of easy. But you flew in the California people, but we got East Coast states banning people. We have huge spikes down in the Southeast. I sure as hell wouldn't go to a race in Texas right now. I don't know about you. What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball and nothing is sure, and you do not speak for the Lemons organization itself. I'm just asking Eric Rood how he feels about the future.
I think it's a fool's errand right now to try and predict what's going to happen. I just don't think anybody has any idea. This year's been so insane that trying to have any expectations for it. I mean,
sodomy geese. I'm telling you, they're coming.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we, and me personally, I want us to hold every race we can, obviously, but we don't know if 4 days at a time, a state's just going to be shuttered, that's beyond our control, and we're going to try and proceed like everything is going to happen, but we just don't know.
And everyone on the screen, and then everyone that off the screen that the five of us all talk to, we all want every race that can possibly be held to be held. But as much as I love this sport, I don't love this sport to the point where I want to put one of my fellow racers in the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deliberately T-bone the car. I'm not going to do something that I know is deliberately not safe on my car that is endangering my fellow racers. And I don't want to do anything, even if I don't completely understand the virus, I don't want to do something that's going to endanger my fellow racers' health in any other way. Mm-hmm. Granted, we did have that one clown come with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, come wandering into our pits. My grandfather smokes since 85. I don't care. You get out of our pit. But I digress. I just like fussing about that guy. So I think everyone understands your frustration. Mm-hmm. That obviously Lemons wants to put on races. That's how you guys make your money, and that's what you guys have chosen to do. So when you guys have to cancel one, there's good reason.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know Jay, and you've talked to Jay for 12 years now, off and on.
Yeah,
you know that despite his occasionally deliberate, thorny, mocking of Lemons people, he really cares about people, and the last thing he wants to do is put anybody in danger. And he feels very strongly that coronavirus is, as dangerous or more dangerous than, a track that has a severe hazard, it's
because that's actually science and facts and all those
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear the dials turning. F that Jeff Wakeman. He don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. No. He's a cynic would say, you know, Jay's concerned about liability and stuff like that, and that's not what is motivating him at all. He's
concerned about liability. He would
not be in the race car business.
This wouldn't have gone more than a race. Yeah.
You can tell he cares about the people that work for him, and he cares about the greater community. So
yeah,
it's a genuine concern for people that he cares about, which are all of our racers are people he cares about. I know, you know, he worries about, you know, what happens if a guy rolls over and, you know, gets maimed, you know, he's going to feel really bad about that. And it's the same thought, and he doesn't want to put his staff in danger as well. So, you know, it was ultimately put to us as a staff, whether we wanted to continue holding races, and anybody who doesn't feel comfortable doing it, you know, is totally within their rights to say, I don't feel comfortable going to a place with 350 people I've never met, or, you know, that I don't live with, I guess, met them. But, and that's just where we're at. You know, it's ultimately staff decision to go and put these races on. And so we're going to work in an atmosphere that we're comfortable with. And that's pretty much the grand takeaway of how we're approaching things. And, you know, how do I personally feel about this spike of coronavirus at the moment? I'm concerned. You know, so what that means, I haven't really had time to think about, you know. I've been busy putting on a race. So those are things I'll be turning over in my head over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you know, we saw your daughter behind you real quick there, and you know, I got kids too, and you know, Hamza on our race team talked very clearly about, like, sure, I love to race, but I'm not going to put myself in danger. And I think Jay said it too, like, I'm not going to put my staff on an airplane if I can't be completely convinced that they're not going to bring home something to their family. So yeah, we totally get it. You will not hear me yell and scream if, oh, they took our race away. I've said before on this show, I am blessed to be at my house and healthy with a job where I just might have to take a couple of weeks off, but I will still have, and that puts me in the better half of the country, and I will count that blessing forever.
So to wrap it up on a high note, the notion of a rally is in and of itself kind of a socially distant thing, because it's you and presumably people you trust and know in a vehicle. What lessons that you've learned from this race and precautions that you already had in place are you going to bring to the Colorado rally, and why should people not worry if they still want to do it?
That's a great question, and tie into something I just wanted to promote. So that's great. So the registration process is going to be as much no contact as we can. Basically, we're giving people the documents they need to have filled out, and then they're going to bring the documents we need from them, like driver's license and insurance card. They're going to put them in a 1-gallon plastic bag and put them under the windshield wipers. We're going to check them through the bag, and we'll pull the 2 sheets out that we need, put them in a box. And then once all their stuff's done, we'll just throw the packet that we packed several days before with gloves on under their the windshield wiper again. And then they can go on their merry way. So that's the registration process. And then we're having no official meetups anywhere, but encouraging people to use a CB or the Zello walkie-talkie app, which I'm working on figuring out what the hell it is and how it works.
That's interesting news. What is the name of that? Zello.
Yeah, right.
Zello.
Need it now.
So then
Zelle is a payment app. We get to do the other one.
Zello, I believe it's called. So those are the precautions we're putting in place. I don't know if I mentioned this. The rally's going to start at Bandamere Speedway in one of their parking lots. And then the end of the rally is unofficial, totally optional. You can go to the drive-in theater in Henderson, Colorado and watch a movie. And then awards, we're going to, we'll announce them on the Instagram and on a blog post, and then we'll just directly mail the trophies to people. So it sucks to not be doing like an official award ceremony, which is the best part of the rally because you're standing there telling everybody stories.
When all the cars line up, I feel like just loved seeing the finale at Barber when we were there, and it's just nice to see all the cars, especially for anybody who hasn't seen it or can become a spectacle too.
I love the idea of ending it at a drive-in theater because you can. It's like the track. You can be social. You can do the dads in the cul-de-sac 6 feet away, and you can say, "Oh man, I saw that thing twice. I saw your Instagram post. Nice work." It looks even better from 6 feet away.
Yeah. Most Lemons rally cars look best from about 100 feet away. So
yeah, that's true.
That ties in.
Or you just admire them at a different level when you're.
That's right.
Less
Closer
than 6
up.
feet.
Yeah. You see the Swiss cheese up close. We are extending registration and payment on that through next Wednesday, the 8th also. So if you are in Denver or Colorado Springs or somewhere else and want to jump in, we'll still take late registrations on that through next Wednesday.
If you can't make it to the rally, which is a shame, but I understand people can't, you should follow the 24 Hours of Lemons rally on Instagram. It will be wonderful.
That's right. At Lemons Rally and then hashtag Lemons Rally.
And because all the competitors will be hashtagging all of their photos for points on hashtag Lemons Rally. That is actually a wonderful anti-doom scrolling way to kill several hours on Saturday morning. Is to sit on your couch if you're hungover or just don't like getting up on Saturday mornings and scroll through your phone and look at all those great rally photos because that's a lot of people having a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it, even though I'm not the one who's actually going to be out there running it. Jeff Stobbs, Lemons Rally veteran, will be the rally master on this one.
You rode in the back of his car. Was it for the
Route
on the Sucky
66?
Suck? Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
In the murder train was the name of his Lincoln.
Sounds so soothing.
Yeah.
It had side pipes. It was not soothing at all. 460 with side pipes. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Connie needed. Side pipes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Eric, I'm glad nobody sneezed on. I should check. Did anybody sneeze on you?
No.
Good job. Congratulations on not getting sneezed on. The other thing I was going to ask was flights and stuff. Everybody okay on the flights? Like, I know a lot of people are flying into these things.
Jay was the only one who flew in. Everybody else drove. So Kim drove up from Atlanta, and Dale and Ken came up from Michigan and Ohio. Jeff Stobbs was there from Minnesota, and then I was in Chicago. And that was pretty much the staff. So it was minimally staffed also. So that's something you can expect. We're trying to limit the number of people exposed.
Hence the need to get your own shit together, not need a bunch of staff around.
Exactly.
I mean, we're around to take questions. So, I mean, that's not that big of an issue. But, Jay said on the flight out, the only two people not wearing masks. Care to take a guess?
Stewardesses.
The captain and a deadheading captain were the only two who have refused to wear masks.
That's great. Little known medical fact, Kim's knee socks, they actually also keep away the coronavirus.
Correct.
But Menzel has to wear them on his face. So that's the problem with it.
Nope. New creepy level. Let's not go there. Nope.
All right, let's just stop it there.
New creepy level.
Eric, seriously, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing so much. We cannot wait to go back racing. We are very excited about it, but we are probably like a lot of racers out there, concernedly excited.
I'm concernedly excited, and I'm not surprised after talking to Jay and seeing the updates. I am actually quite happy that when I return to Lemons, regardless of if you guys hold a race, I know that you guys have made the same evaluations that I would have made, and I'm going to be safe there. So thank you for that.
And I'm definitely feeling safer just hearing the stories. So
Good.
I hope it continues. I hope we continue all wearing our mask and going racing and having a great time because I love all you people. I want to keep it up.
Tell you what, it felt good to be at a racetrack again.
Yeah.
Not to brag, but
Oh, I had fun. What did you guys do last weekend?
Yeah.
Sanded a boat.
Right.
And in the Whaler.
All right. We are on to our favorite portion of the show, not when the DNA cows are behind me, but when Chrissy is going to be kind enough to give us just the tip.
I'm not even going to take
Yep.
this one. Mental wrote it. You do it.
Fair enough. Folks, we've got some fireworks safety because this weekend is the 4th of July, and we got this particular fireworks safety tip from all places, Florida. Remember, if you blow your hand off,
They have the largest sample size of injuries, so that helps. Yeah.
True. You can't grab a steering wheel if you blow your hand off. First off, let's start out with this surprising statistic. Grab on to something solid, folks, because as it turns out, 74% of all fireworks injuries affect males.
Yep.
Not a surprise.
No one is. All right.
Actually,
Only
I'm surprised it's
74?
that low.
Yes. Me
I
too.
would
No,
go
the-
with like 94.
Well,
They,
and I'm
they
gonna-
were all caused by males.
That's where I was going.
That's true.
Yes.
Sometimes
Hey, honey,
the girlfriend
hold
takes a
this.
bottle rocket in the face. It happens.
Yep.
All right. So
Sure does.
burns account for more than 50% of all your injuries. Of those, 19% of those injuries are in your eyes, things you need when you're on a racetrack. Another 19% are head, face, and ears. Ears you can probably get away with. 36% hands and fingers. Only 5% are the arms, which surprises me. 11%.
Well, you don't usually hold a Roman candle in your armpit,
compelling, which is a lovely segue to the second part, is 11% of those injuries are considered trunks and other. Let's go ahead and just be honest. That other is butt cheeks. And if you don't think so,
It's not.
go to
Yeah, it
YouTube
probably
and
is.
type in bottle rocket butt cheeks. You won't get one video. You will get lots of videos.
I'd work with Roman candles too. Yep.
My
Roman
question
candles.
is, what if there's
Or
more
plumber.
than 50% of injuries were burns? I don't want to know what the rest
No,
of the 50%
no, you don't.
are.
No, you don't. All right. And finally, 10% of those are on the legs. Guys, just be smart. Get your little punk sticks. You like the stuff, put it on the street where things are going to catch fire, and don't set them near your house. And I mean, I get it. After 6 beers, it's funny to aim that bottle rocket at your lady or the pack of jumping jacks into your sleeping grandma's lap, but it's not safe. Don't do it.
Make sure they're on
I-
a stable platform too, that they're not going
Yes.
to fall down and shoot
No.
things at you or your
Yes.
friends or your
or
wife.
if your weenie dog, for example, likes to fetch things, maybe put your weenie dog on a leash and have him not retrieve the flaming Roman candle.
Hey, and then you know what? Watch the
Aw.
kids because they say, "Daddy, I want to help," and they run behind you, and they
Absolutely do. Now I stole something, Chris. You had an on the spot that I imagine is much better than fireworks safety, but I just feel like we would be not doing our civic duty if we reminded people not to blow parts of themselves off.
You can blow up other things in celebration of the country, but try not to blow yourself up.
Celebrate the freedom
Yeah.
of your nation by destroying a small part of it.
Oh, hold on a second, Chris. Let me just give another tip about the fireworks. If you live in an urban environment and there are fireworks on your neighborhood like 4 times a night, get with your neighbors and schedule that crap because somebody's got to sleep every now and then. All right?
Yep.
Sorry,
All
Chris.
right.
On the spot.
No fun, Jeff. On the spot. What would be a fun and interesting penalty idea that could be done in the world of Rona?
Oh. Let's see.
I guess I'll start off. It's my question. I like scavenger hunt kind of things, but you could, so something like that, bring back these weird things, or like Chrissy and I did one time, it was a selfie scavenger hunt, and that can all be done digitally and sent
That's
to
kind of
you.
actually what I was thinking.
So something
Emailed.
scavenger hunty. Yes.
Send the pictures back by email.
Very nice. That's excellent. Yes. I'm gonna go with collect or find a discarded car part and disinfect it.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to call it physically distance theater. And I'm going to say, go back to your paddock, stand 6 feet away from all of your friends, and then give them some sort of assignment that has to do with their penalty. Like if they spun, teach all of your, at 6 feet distance, teach your entire team how to spin exactly like you spun, or teach
like
all
a
of
video mime your crime.
like a mime your crime,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
in your paddock with your people all together 6 feet apart, and then prove that they are 6 feet apart. So like you have to be like between something. I don't know.
The group things on video could also be like the Harlem Shake penalty back in the day, like where the CMP they
They'll
went
make
over
a
the
video.
gas station
Yep.
and did that, right? Yeah.
I think you have a lot. Digital is really going to be
Yep.
a friend on that one,
And plus, those are great for wrap-up videos.
Yes.
right? Because then you have them.
True that.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that one and go to the Kreger's penalty. He made us do at pit race last year with the I want an episode of my podcast. So go back to your paddock and you and your friends record 3 minutes of a podcast about what you did wrong on the track.
Well, that's good for us, but
No.
maybe Bill,
Everybody has to do. It's the Lemons penalty podcast, brought to you by the guy who spun in turn 3. And
Whoa. We have enough competition as it is. We don't need 4 jack-offs from Central
Wait, that one of them might be like the next star. Be like,
Yes.
that was really good. You
We have
should get
enough-
a podcast.
There are enough podcasts about endurance racing. Let me just say that right now.
Hello and welcome to the Nissan Center podcast.
I might listen to that.
Today we're
I'll
going to
listen to
discuss how you can use transmission bolt from 94 Maxima to actually hang on axle on 78 Sintra.
Later is
Welcome to-
recipe for lamb kebabs.
Heck yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah,
the
right.
Bacon Podcast by Soggy. Today we're going to be talking about bacon.
And how
Then we're
sausage is the devil.
Then we're going to talk about bacon, and then we're going to talk about bacon. And then for some weird reason, we're going to talk about Groms and how to commute across many states carrying bacon.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Good suggestions, everybody.
Yeah.
Eric, thank you very much.
You didn't have one. Do you have a suggestion?
Oh, sorry, Eric. Go on.
Oh, me? I made some people do the duct tape flame job on their car.
Ooh,
Classic.
that's
that,
always a
yeah.
good one.
It's a good one.
And I didn't end up making anybody do this, but the 1-to-1 cardboard engine replica is one of my favorites.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I was going to say cardboard replica of your car and
That
make
feels
it
like
do
dream.
the-
is-
make it do the accident. Like, this is what happened. Their car went here, and then my car went here.
And I had the line. You could tell
That would be
already
awesome.
I had the line.
Yeah.
Just have to find that much
Cool.
cardboard.
It is
And a
tough.
lemons
You
Yeah.
can make it small replica.
Yeah.
Doesn't,
Yes.
small.
Eric, do you want to plug anything? The rally, the YouTube channel, the Thursdays, the
Sure.
I Suck at Racing. Go ahead, plug it all.
There's a whole bunch of stuff I can plug, so I'm going to try and cram it all in here. The
We got
Rocky
nothing
Mountain,
but time.
Rocky Mountain Breakdown Rally is July 10th through 12th in and out of Denver. Starts at Bandimere Speedway and ends at the 88 Drive-In in Henderson, Colorado. More information on 24hoursoflemons.com/lemons-rally, or just look for the Lemons Rally on the banner at the top of the website.
I'd like to mention
Also-
that Eric is not looking at notes at all. He's just saying this right off the top of his head.
And now
That's what
you
I do.
derailed it. Way
Sorry.
to go.
There's also Lemons iRacing at isuckatracing.com. You can find the schedule there. We are racing tomorrow, which is July 2nd and also July 5th. And new season schedule will come out sometime after that once I get my crap together. There's also 24 Hours of Lemons, and we have a Lemons Thursday Therapy every Thursday on Facebook Live at 3 p.m.
Those are
noon
great.
Pacific.
I
Those
love
are
those. I'm
so
very
great.
glad that they're out. They
Yes.
have
We'll
been
be
filling
talking
my soul.
Gingerman some more tomorrow, and probably some Lemons car spotting, which is fantastic.
I'd like to mention that I put something in for Lemon's car spotting, and I have yet
I
to
will.
see it. I'm just checking. That was
Probably
weeks ago.
Probably because it sucked, but
It was Firebirds. 2 Firebirds within a block of New Jersey. Imagine that.
Bro. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun.
Thanks for
Thanks
being
for
here,
coming
Eric, as
on.
always.
Awesome.
Eric.
Well, and thank you all for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, or put a comment down below on the damn YouTube channel.
We did get a comment. The Ron Rebuilds Richard's Rebuilds was highly regarded by one of our viewers on YouTube.
Absolutely. So even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why, or put it in the comments. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on the Instagrams or the Twitters at everyone.racers. Subscribe. It's going to pop up right here. Hit the subscribe button. Actually, I don't know. It's over there. It's right on top of Chris any second now. Subscribe, tweet about it, whatever. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.